Hi,
Hello everyone.
welcome to our latest video of Adam Asked Jest, first one of 2023.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've got a nice question today. I think it's going to help us cover a few different things all wrapped up in the one question.
Okay.
So I'll tell you the question. It is from a client, and he said to me, I've watched your last video before Christmas.
Remind me what that was.
It's about mortgage interest rates and why it's, you're going to be
Okay.
refinancing in
Yes, yeah, of course.
January.
I remember. And by the way, I think
Still on there, still
look,
on the channel, go watch it.
I'll put look.
Yeah.
Just do that, and then in the edit there'll be some box.
actually had
You know, it might be there
The
instead
most
of there.
views of any video that you and me have ever done. So obviously,
Hit a chord. It's
yeah.
really topical and bang on the money. Yeah, we'll talk about that a bit as part of the answer. You saying okay?
So he said he's watched the last video.
Yep.
And he said he's in a similar position, looking to refinance 2 properties. But the question is, where is the best place to invest in 2023?
Like geographical location, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I think wrapped up in that
Okay.
question, we'll be able to provide a bit of a market update.
Yep. Okay.
Mortgage rates, rental demand, valuations, where the bargain deals are, because that
You want it all.
links into your new favourite area. We've got a new favourite area.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Happy with that? Think you can tackle that question?
You want the moon on a stick today. Okay. All right. So the actual question is, what's the best area?
Basically.
But
yeah.
but also if we like, okay, yeah, I've got it right. So we're going to talk about interest rates as a recap. So what we talked about interest rates, tail end of last year.
And you've got what, 10?
I've got
houses
more
going
now.
through
Do you know what? I don't know. So I spoke to Charlotte. I'm going ahead. What we said last year was interest rates were a problem. They very quickly became not so much of a problem. I mean, they're not ideal for sure. In December they weren't, but they weren't the end of the world. And what I figured out was it wasn't worth holding off. The difference between where I think they're going to end up in about 3 or 4 months, which could extend out to be 9 months, is going to make the difference of between 25 and 30 pounds a month. But I want my 60, 70, 100 grand back per job. So I can go buy another house. I mean, it's not.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
As I said in there, the rates are what they are, but they're dropping.
They're dropping
all the time.
Yeah, and they're dropping more. So in January they've dropped a little bit more.
Anything you go and buy with your refinanced
Yeah.
properties, you're going to be getting a mortgage on that to the back end of this year. By
Yep.
the time you bought it,
Correct.
renovated it, everything.
Correct.
But the rates are so strong.
The other thing that really struck a chord for me is it's not forever. So let's say it is £25 per month. Why put that off for another year? I'm only going to get a 2-year or a 3-year fix. I'll refinance that again. It's not even a couple of £1,000s. Every house we buy is 25 grand. Anyway, going off. So interest rates, we're very happy with where they are, and I am going through all my
Considering where
considering
we were.
considering where
Yeah.
and all of the planned refinancing that I planned to do back last quarter of last year, they're all going ahead now.
Sure.
I don't know how many there are, but there's a backlog. Charlotte's sorting them out for me on Monday actually, but I've got some indicative rates. I'm happy with those. General market update, because this is the exciting bit. This is is it boom or is it bust for buy-to-let in 2023? I guess it depends on how you approach it.
Yeah.
For us, it's going to be a boom. It's the market has started strong for us.
God. We're on the 12th of January. We're not even 2 full working weeks in.
Yep.
You asked me yesterday, the first time seeing you since before Christmas,
Yep.
what day did you come back to work then? Like, last week. But we've already put more houses with clients this month than the whole of December.
Yeah.
And we're not in 2 full weeks in.
So the market, when we said the market's strong, we mean something different. We mean for a landlord who wants to acquire, who wants to buy. Now, it doesn't mean the prices are necessarily going up or down. At the moment, I think they're broadly speaking stable. They're coming to where we want to
in our
buy.
neck of the woods, though, in our places where we buy, it's the sort of areas where they're a little bit insulated and protected
From price.
You're
Yeah,
not-
yeah. If you have a £500,000 house in the home counties, your prices might be coming down.
But
Yeah.
bought some land last year to build a massive block of flats down south somewhere. You're probably going to find that they're not going to sell for what you thought they would.
Yeah. The main thing for us is that stock availability has gone up, and in amongst that stock, there is always somebody with all the D's, divorce debt,
Yeah.
distress death, all those things. And there's always some of those. And that's the kind of stuff we buy. It's where the opportunity is there. So all we need is a higher number of volume going through, and we'll pick out the we're bottom feeders. You know, it's not dress it up. We're bottom feeders,
but
it works.
For me is that the buyers still have the struggle. So if they come to me and they're like, "Oh, this was really easy to," the agents just rang me up and I bought it. It was really easy. There was no one else bidding for it. You're like, oh,
yeah, you've overpaid. Yeah,
Julie said today.
Yeah.
Julie's
our chief buyer.
She went and reviewed a house, got back, started doing all the calculations, putting the renovation costs together, and someone had already offered over asking when she rang the agent back.
Yeah.
So that's actually a good thing, because we want it to be difficult. If it's easy, it's not a deal.
Anyway, that's a hard picture to get through to. So if you're not in the business of buying properties, all that's confusing. Is it good? Is it bad? Is price going up or down or sideways? Or is it hard to buy? Is it good that it's hard to buy? It's an on the ground thing. But I can tell you now, there are. It's going to be a great year. You can feel it already. There is more opportunity and bargain. So is it going to be boom or bust? It depends on who you are and how you're going to approach it. We're going to be buying the right houses in the right areas. We know for the right price. Do the right renovation on them, put the right tenant in, manage them right, all those rights, and we're going to make absolute killing this year. I know we are. It's just going to be. It's already started that way. You're going to have to remind me of the question.
So, basically, where is the best place to buy this year in 2023?
Got it. That was it. Yeah. So
you kind of alluded to something already, and I think you might touch on it. It does depend.
It depends.
What you want, who you are. Those sort of things.
I feel like I should apologise. Something just keeps popping into my head as well. I know that the last video we did, we promised to do a video before Christmas. We never did. Sorry.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, we did. I just buggered off. I couldn't be asked.
Yeah, it's a Gran Canaria.
It was warm. It was really cold. It was really cold in England. I need some heat.
We didn't think it'd look as good on the Zoom, just you and me chatting.
Well, we could have done it, but it was. Yeah, it was very cold. Right now, I live in a. Well, it's not a small house or anything. It's just a. It's a cold, miserable house. We're doing the work. The YouTube studio is on its way. So, in fact, there you go. Look. Muddy Boots. I was on site not long ago, and just before here, so it's on its way. I get a new concrete floor next week, and anyway, so yeah, apologies. I said I would, but where we are, Christmas wasn't quite Christmas, so we buggered off for some sun. So we didn't record the video. Apologies. Coming back to, however, okay. So it depends on who you are and what you are. It also, step back one, set yourself up for the best chance. So. It depends. It changes. I used to buy loads of houses in Northampton. Don't buy much there now. We don't buy much in Derby anymore. We don't buy much in Nottingham anymore. Sometimes we do. We've got those options. You called it. It sounds a bit sinister. The spider's web. We are based. I am based. We are sat right now in Nottingham, and Nottingham is right in the middle of the country. And if you take every arterial route and then also need to drive between them, it creates a spider's web. We are 2 hours or less drive away from 85% of the UK's population, which is handy for us. And I'm not saying you're ever going to be, if you're sat on the south coast, you're not going to get yourself in that position, but you can certainly move yourself around. If you're sat in the middle, if you are handily in the East Midlands or the Midlands, you can get further around. If you want the ability to be able to buy all over, give this man a call and he can find houses for you, of course. Your handhold's a thing that we do. That's a service we provide. So we can find, fix and rent houses for you. Little plug for you there. But set yourself up so you can cover a wider geographical area if possible. Because, we still like all the areas we've been buying in over the last 3 or 4 years.
If you're an existing client, you know where we buy.
Yeah.
If you've come to meet us before, you know where we buy. I'm going to give all our secrets out on YouTube. Come and meet us if you want to find out more.
The exact postcodes, yeah?
Yeah. So we're still buying in those areas.
We are.
Well,
yeah. I think that there are different types of houses. So if you want a really locked on, solid, comparable, because you're insistent on buying a house, doing it up and getting as much of your money back out as possible. You're going to rely on a good end valuation. You want good comparables in the area. And the more premium areas are going to achieve that. I always tend to go a little bit, I buy those all the time. But they happen to go quite quickly. And when Adam gets one, they disappear out of my grasp. we've covered, do I get the best houses, don't we? We've done
we
that
know.
already. Well, I
You
don't get the best houses. I get the things that fell through or there's something wrong with them. I have to sort of beg, steal and borrow my houses. But I tend to go towards the cheaper end. I just like the cheaper end. It's always been really good to me. The yields are good, naturally, straight off on day one. But honestly, it's the capital growth that kills it, in a good way. You know, it's we call them a firecracker, which is you buy it, it's a little bit less certain on the end value, and maybe the first time you revalue it, you go for something 6 months later, and it's maybe it is a bit of a damp squib. It's like, what happened there? But you've got a perfectly renovated house. People are piling into an area. You know, they're cheap houses, and they've got to go up at some point, and the firecracker happens. And what happened there?
They turn the light off. They're going home, aren't they?
Is it just gone 5 o'clock?
Gone 5 o'clock.
The studio lights just went off. I just call it a studio. Yeah,
We're just in the meeting room.
it's the boardroom. It's not a studio, you know. So I got like those areas. We've never bought one of those firecracker houses and not had it double in value in 5 years. You know, that's 50 grand. You know, that's a load of money. I've taken to the habit. You know, I'm practicing what I preach every single time I do a refinance. Now I work out what the capital growth is versus the day I bought it, and track it over multiple refinances. And it's that first bump, the firecracker, where it's twice as good as normal, and then it sort of settles down to the UK average. So I love those areas.
Keep people in suspense here.
Go on.
Where's the best place to buy, man?
Oh well, the best place isn't the best place. It's those things truly are yours. Personally, you know, I'm doing northeast more than I like the northeast at the moment.
So we've got two separate offices in that area now. One's over a year old, one's 6 months old, and they're buzzing.
If you will ask a traditional or a uninformed, unimaginative, I don't know what the word would be, that's probably not the right description. Somebody hasn't maybe thought it through properly. The northeast it gets a bad rep. It's like
people say it's
no
miles
capital
away.
growth. It's miles away. No capital growth there. Unemployment's low, but they've never been there. They haven't even looked at it for like, you know, that might have been true a decade ago or 5 years ago. Now it's turned. I mean, there's loads of projects going on. You know, there's some massive areas of wasteland in some of the areas near where we're buying, and you look at it and go, crikey, why the hell would you buy there? Well, they're spending £800 million on that bit. The comps are all good. Yeah. Anyway, So I like that area. But when we find a house that looks, just because there's more of them, there's more, those houses are there, there's more firecrackers that I like. Some of them are the sort of the middle road. So we tend to say a firecracker is the real cheap stuff, the premium single let, we're just talking single lets here, not HMOs, do HMOs wherever you can find them really. And then there's something in the middle, just your bread and butter. And the northeast, actually, it's got some premium stuff, hasn't it? We've been doing some premium. Yeah, we've been doing some premium stuff, which might, you know, maybe that's me being prejudiced to it.
HMOs there as well.
Yeah. But I would take any of those houses, in the north west or Lincolnshire, North Lincolnshire, South Yorkshire, around those areas as well. I'd buy them. It's just there seems to be more of them up north right now, north east, and we like that. We mentioned a couple of times, be greedy when others are fearful when others are greedy, etc., etc. It feels like a contrarian move, maybe buying north-east-ish, but it always has done everywhere where we bought. When we started buying in Nottingham 15, 16 years ago, people say you're crazy, absolutely crazy. I went around places, letting agents.
In Nottingham where when I was growing up, you'd think, what?
Yeah, why would you buy there? Yeah. Every single one of those has made me £100,000 to £150,000 in capital growth, not rent, probably the same in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I've still got a couple of friends that don't get really what I do, and then they know I've got a few houses in a few places, and they're like,
what?
They laugh at it. Yeah, they think it's like daft. But
I was told, so there's a particular area in Nottingham, I was like, don't buy there. There's drug warfare and gangs, and it's like, actually, that area, it is true that 10 years before I arrived in Nottingham, that was a problem in that area. It was. Yeah. I arrived as a newcomer. I never saw I had a heroin, never heard anything about that because it just never happened. It had all gone. It had been put in prison a long time ago. But the hangover stood for a long time. So
see through that. yeah, it's really easy to sort of
Yeah.
get caught up in a stereotype of a place and think, oh no,
Yeah.
it doesn't work for me, won't work, too
Yeah.
far away, whatever.
Is that giving a
yeah.
proper answer? Whereas I did give you a best place. I did say that I'm preferring that area
Yeah.
for a particular reason. It's not as simple as that. You know, it's not as simple as that. Try and work out what you want, what you're trying to achieve. Come to a discovery call. We joke about it. Come to a discovery call, have a chat, and you'll work through your options. It's more about the type of property you want to buy, and then it's about where to find it. Now we're just having to find a bit more at the northeast, but yeah.
There we
Good.
go.
Seems like we've done all right.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep it regular now. We're back.
Some housekeeping. Like, subscribe.
Yes, all those things.
Book to meet us if you haven't done so already.
There's some show notes down there with stuff in them where the links can be clicked.
Share the video maybe if
Ooh.
you think it's interesting.
Let's go viral.
Yeah.
This is never going to go viral, is it?
No.
No.